All right, guys, next up on the top 10 is all about closures. Closures are not only functional, they also make your album look interesting. And it keeps everything, in terms of functionality, it keeps everything nice and tidy, which is really important to me. For instance, anything on the right-hand side that flips would need a closure. See that? You would have to do like this in order to keep it from doing that, which is kind of annoying, right? It's just not a good thing. So I'm going to show you various closures in different ways. And I mean, there's a million and one ways to make closures, but these are my go-to. So for the first one, it's going to be a magnet closure, but not your typical magnet closure. I just want to show you the binding system in action here. You guys ready? The whole pivoting action, look at how nice and flat that is now. It's just super perfect, guys. All right, so if you're in the market for magnets, I sell magnets in my shop. I have a really good price. These are 1/4 inch magnets, so they're very small. They have a nice thin profile and they are super duper strong. Okay, very, very strong. So for this first one, I'm going to do something here. All right, and I'm going to use a magnet closure. I need 2 magnets for this, and I'm going to do P3 tape. All right, so this is going to be a bit of a different type of magnet closure. Okay, I want somewhere around here. You can use Tyvek for this. P3 tape is my brand of tape that I sell in my shop. It is a fabric-based tape, and it is fabulous. All right, so I'm going to, let me give you a length here, because again, you can use Tyvek. This is 4 inches. And I am going to peel the tape backing off as soon as I can, right? I like to use my knife for this so it doesn't stick to my hands. And I'm going to place my magnet right about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. I'm going to fold it over. I want approximately 3/8 of an inch of a belt. So I'm just going to fold over eyeball and fold it over both sides just to create a belt. You can also use cardstock for this. The reason why I like Tyvek or P3 tape is because it's not going to tear. Okay? You can round these corners with scissors or with your corner rounder if you like. It's entirely up to you. Just a little snip, 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 and you have a perfectly rounded corner. At least for me, it takes me a couple tries because I'm terrible at it, which is why I use a corner rounder. But just, you know, a couple of little tries and I eventually get it. Sometimes my corner chomper doesn't do well with fabric. This is a fabric tape, and so I have to use my scissors. All right, so there's my little belt. And now, because I have everything matted, when I add this, I have to make it decorative. Okay? I have to make it decorative. So I'm going to put that there. And let's see. Whoops, over here. See exactly where this is going to go. So a little bit lower. I'm liking it right around there. Liking that a lot. And I may shorten this too. I'm not sure just yet. All right, so that right there is good. So to make that, oh well, it's okay. To make it decorative, I'm going to put what I like to call a patch. All right, something that will cover up my pattern paper. Will cover up the mechanics of this. All right, and this will do just the trick. Okay, I'm going to do some glue. Right here, so a couple of, and let's situate this again. Okay, right there is good. Let me open that up. Let me hold it now in place because, so I'm going to put some glue on the back side of this just to anchor it. And then I'm going to put my patch right there. So you don't have to think about your closure before you mat. You can do it afterwards. It all depends how flexible you are with decorative elements, right? Like I'm totally okay with doing that and then adding a decorative element. Do you want to know what's the downside to having so many embellishments? It's so hard to pick. That is the downside. It's so hard to pick. All right, I'm going to use this cupcake here. It's so hard for me to commit to an embellishment because they're all so cute. I think I may want something smaller. Yeah, I think I want something smaller. Like the heart was just fine with me. Okay. Can also put the little butterfly. Oh, I have another idea. I'm going to use one of the mini pocket cards. I like those. Those teeny pocket cards. Those are so cute. What did I do with them? Here they go. I have quite a few of these printed, so why not use these? Nope. Just a thought. Okay, pocket card. Pocket card it is. Okay, and that can act as another little tuck space there. Yep, perfect. I'm not going to what am I trying to say here? Mat it because I don't want to add too much bulk. All right, so, and then we can put a little sentiment down here. Why not? Just to round it off. We have so many, so why not? Okay, so I'm going to get a piece of white cardstock. Well, this is just paper, so this is fine. I'm going to stick this down. Right there. And then cut it. And ink it. And that will be really cute there. Just another layer. Just a little bit lower. There we go. Very cute. Let's get rid of that. All right, so now we have our closure here. So now I'm going to get the other side of the magnet and stick that on there so I know exactly where it's going to go. What I like to do is make a little bit of a stamp of the magnet. See that? I put a little glue on it and then I stamped so I know exactly where it should go. And that's going to go right there. And now we're going to make another little patch right there on this pocket. So we can put a heart like so and cover the magnet up, right? Which I love that. Maybe something with a little more contrast. What colors do I have there? Here we go. I'll just do the little heart. I like the heart. Uh-oh, what did I do with it? It wasn't this one. but that one gives me actually much better contrast, so we'll do that one. I placed the other one down and I lost it. Oh no, I can't do that. That one's just matchy-matchy up there. Not good. Hold on, let me grab a different one. The bow is really cute. I love the bow, and then I could tuck something away in there. Right under there. Yep. The bow is adorable. And there's a bow on the opposite end, so that's okay. So I'm loving the bow. And it looks like right there it is. And I'm going to get a little photo mat and just tuck it right under there. But that would have to be matted. So I've got a small piece of white paper here. So I'm just going to do 1.5 inches for the white. So it's 1.5 by 2. So for the black, I'm going to do, that's not large enough. You know what? I could probably do it with, I have some extra file folder material here. So 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. And that will give me a nice little mat. And something outside of the black. Something different. And now a little ink on this one here. And that is adorable. So another little mat. I love small pictures. They're so cute. Okay, so I'm going to glue all of this right here because this must go down. Where's my magnet? Right there. So that's just where I'm going to hold it for now. Right there, because that whole thing needs to glue down. Right there. I don't think I got any glue on this side here. Now that I'm feeling it. Yeah, I didn't put any on the inside here. There we go. Perfect. And of course, this belt will be matted. So while I'm holding that down, I am going to look at some papers to mat my belt because it's the right way to go. And I've got, let's see, what do I have here? I'm looking at my scraps here. I've got this piece of scrap, which will do. Oh yeah, perfect. So I'm going to cut this to 1/4 inch, and I need 2 pieces. Let's put that right up there. Before I cut the other one, I'm going to need 2.5 inches. So I think this will be enough. Just a little bit of pattern paper would be nice. I did 2 5/8 inch, guys. Here's my problem with this little strip. It's a little under 1/4 inch, but my problem with this little strip is I cannot, oh, this is clearly not what I want. Hold on, guys. Hang on. All right, let's try that again. I think this one will be better. I can't, for me to round those corners, oof, we shall see. What is going on? I can't seem to cut that. And this is still not really good. I don't know, I'm not loving that. So I'm thinking do a little kind of stripe on stripe action there until I cut my paper right. Tie that. And I'll deal with the paper later. You guys will see the paper in the final review. Because what I really want to show you here are the closures. And this may be a long video because there are multiple closures. Alright, so we'll leave it black for now. Alright, and then I'll just come on in here. I know I put a little too much glue there, but that's alright. Because I can easily do this. And I just want to tuck that right under there for a little photo opportunity. All right, so there is that. And as you can see, no more flapping in the wind for that magnet belt right there. Okay, so we can close that. And the next one is, I showed you the paper clip. So there's a paper clip there. We're going to do that. A really simple one is the policy style closure, which is this one here. And I've showed that 1,000,001 times, but I am going to show it one more time. But let's see what else we got. This is the acetate magnet flap. And then here, nope, that's here I'm going to do D-rings. Let's do a D-ring closure because I've got my tape out. So D-ring closure for this one. And these will differ based on what the needs are to attach the closure, okay? So you may not have to attach them the same every single time. They may differ, right? But the idea is to use small D-rings. These are at a 1/2 inch, right? So I've got a strip of P3 tape right here. Okay, see that? And I'm going to attach it to my D-ring. You can use Tyvek. I do not recommend cardstock for this because it will tear the closure. All right, so I'm going to put that through there. And I'm going to stick these two together. Like so. Then, because of the way that we built this pocket, there's a slit right here. So I want you to put it through that slit. See that? And you're just going to have to trim it just a little bit. Okay? Just enough to put it through there. And now you're going to glue that. Okay, just to avoid any oozing, because it may happen, you can put a piece of tape backing there with the glue, with the shiny side up. Okay, but I didn't put a lot of glue, so I should be fine. So there's one part of the D-ring. And then for this one here, same thing. Okay, same exact thing. Get that through the D-ring. First remove the tape backing. Know how I wind up with so many things on my desk. I don't know. Front and center. How does that happen, guys? And then through here. You can always check to make sure that it's not sticking to the, you didn't have too much glue oozing. It's easy. Just, you can check it. And the easiest way to do this is to just get both of those sides to connect. and then you pull really tight so then you can have it nice and even. Okay, perfect. So there's my D-ring. Now I just want to quickly see it's not sticking because I didn't let my glue ooze. So now for this, now I'm going to get a piece of paper, and it seems like this one wants to be my friend here. Matches here, it's just perfect. So I'm going to get a piece at 1 3/4 inches, and whatever the length is this here. What did I cut this at? 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go in at 1 inch. Okay, and then at 1 3/4 inches. So I want this to be a little beefy, so I'm going to have a folded over edge. I think it's time to replace my, so now I'm going to stick this down here and then I'll fold it. Okay. Nope, I don't need that yet. I need this. Let me get a nice clean cut here. Okay, beautiful. So now I'm going to stick that down to the edge. That's going to go this way, so I want it this way. As straight as possible. We're going to let that dry. I'm quite the stickler for a folded over edge, but I don't always get it. So, you know, sometimes I have to give in and not have my folded over edge. Okay, so now I'm just going to fold these edges over to the black. Again, creating a belt, if you will. Okay, that looks good, looks good, looks good. So now I'm just going to glue those little sides down. Okay. Then I'm going to ink that up, put a little eyelet, or put a big eyelet. Okay, so now I'm just going to get an eyelet right here in the center, which will just be decorative. Whoopsie. All right, there we go. Okay, and now eyelets, please. Let's set that. So I'm doing it this way, but you can attach this in so many different ways. I mean, so many ways to attach something like this. And it depends on the project. Okay, truly, for me, it depends on the project how these get attached. And now I'm just going to glue this to my project, hopefully centered, just like that. And let me look to see, that's pretty good. And just, there you go. And now you just put a little tie there, but we got to let that dry for us. This is too short. Let me grab another piece. And you can put whatever you want here, guys. It doesn't have to be just a tie. It could be whatever you want. But this is perfect for me. Simple, easy. I'm putting it pretty loose because I don't want to pull on that. It's not dry yet. Okay, you gotta love those 2D rings there. And I just want a simple little bow. Not my favorite, I will tell you that. Not my fave. You know what would be cute there? I like it like this better. And I don't have to worry about tying a bow. Okay, look at that. Love that. And that stays nice and closed just like that. It's just that little loop. So the bow, I was not feeling the bow. All right, so you can put something on the end of it. Just make sure that you can open this wide enough so that whatever you put on the end of that will go through the loops. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to have, let's see, we'll move on to the next one. All right, so next up is the policy style closure. That is this one right here. All right, it's the circle with the, you can use a brad or an eyelet, and you need some string. So just to save time, I did 2 3/4 inch circles. I glued those together. I punched a hole in the center. Then you can add these several ways once again. For me, because I like to mat and I love the layers, I attach my closures to my mat, not necessarily to the base of a particular piece. All right, so I'm going to add this, I'm going to glue this here, and this is where my closure will be. All right, as opposed to having to punch a hole through here to get my closure on, I assemble it to my mat. Okay, so here is my circle, here is my eyelet. I'm using a 3/16 inch eyelet, and here is my mat, quote, end quote. And now I'm going to set my eyelet. Right, these circles can be any size you want them to be. Okay, so I'm going to attach this one first, and I want this to be pretty glued this side. Okay, so I'm not going to have a full insertion all the way. All right, so I will have that. And instead of putting it over here, I decided to put it over here. That way I can have the string as yet another tuck spot. Okay, that does not go there just yet. Okay, and now this side will go right on the other one, and I'm just gluing this so I can have this as a tuck spot. See that? Looks pretty darn good to me. Love that. And this way, now I'll have these 2 circles here as my closure. All right, and that is a decorative element for my photos, or put photo and then a little tuck spot. All right, so typically what I do for the string, this is still wet, so I'm not going to add it. I tie it around the circle, make a knot under the circle, and then I will string it on this side. I will do that later on once that is dry, but let's move on to the next one. This is nice and dry, so I'm going to go ahead and tie or create our tie. So I've got some twine here, and I want to tie it on this side. I'm just going to lift a little bit and get it under there and tie. Make a knot, then clip that under there, and now you've got yourself your little policy closure. What I love about this policy closure is that you don't have to have 2 circles to do a policy closure. You can do 1. Okay, and I'll show you an example of 1. It's kind of hard to get it under there initially, but just once you train it, it'll do it for you nice and easy. So there's the policy closure with 2. Now let me show you with 1. I did that back here. So here it is with one. So instead of going, these are just loose items here. Look how cute that turned out. So there's one, and you roll it around this way, around this piece to keep this envelope closed. So that turned out really, really, really cute. Instead of tying it around here, I left this, instead of snipping the string here, I left it long and I added yet another dangle. And how I know this is the way to open it is because it's on top. This one is all the way at the bottom. Now, if this were for, let's say, someone who's not a crafter, this may be confusing, so I would not recommend this type, leaving this dangle here because it may be confusing, but I think it's so cute. I love it. I love the way it looks there. All right, so that's policy closure. On this page, we're going to do another magnet closure, but different. All right, so this one's going to be with acetate. I need you to bear with me because I have no measurements here for this particular one. I can tell you that we're starting off with a piece of acetate that measures 2.5 inches by 12. Then I'd like you to round the corners. Whoopsie. On all four sides. Okay. Then I'm going to create a slot with this slot punch right here. And I got this on Amazon. It probably looks different now. I've had this, I think this one is the one I've had forever and 10 days. Oh, I got it on Amazon. It's a slot punch. It's a slot punch that you use to create slots in ID badges. Okay. So I'm just going to go slightly away from the edge, and then I'm just going to punch to create an opening. Ideally, a nice straight one. All right, so see that? There it is. See that slot there? That one may be a little too big for my taste. So I'm going to go on this other side because I can shorten it. I don't need it that long. I'm going to be about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then about 1/4 of an inch from the other side, and then right in the middle. Let's see what I get there. Oh yeah, this is much better. So something like that. So I'm about, I said 1/4, but that's about 3/8 of an inch from the edge. All right, so the slot is approximately 1 1/4 inches. This one, too big. All right, so it's going to go behind. Make sure I can cut it. Yes, I can. All right, so I'm just going to shorten that, and I'll tell you what measurement I wind up with. So I'm just going to get rid of that portion there. So it's at 11 inches now. Okay. And I have to round again. So let me get that done. And I'll try to be as descriptive as I can because I know you can't see this. All right, so then what I want to, so we're going to be behind this here because I don't want to cover any of this beautiful paper for this closure. All right, so I'm thinking so at about here I've got about 2 inches. I'm going to score from the opposite the slot. Okay, so there's my slot here. I'm going to be at, I'm going to score at 2 1/4 and then at 2, just to create a gusset. So 2 1/4 and then at 2. Then I'm going to fold. Okay, now let me get another measurement here. So let me put that back in there. Nice. And then here, I'm going to do another 1/4 of an inch gusset at 4 and then 4 1/4. Okay. So now from the slot side, I'm going to go at 4 and then 4 1/4. And the reason why I'm not, I'm doing it this length is because I don't want, when I put a photo mat in here, I don't want it to catch on any pieced together pieces. So that's, I'm just creasing on my score lines now. Okay, nice. So we've got ourselves a nice little belt. Okay, see that? There we go, that's a good. So let's put it back in here. And now I want another piece of acetate. And I'm going to cut this at my slot. I said was about 1 inch and slightly over, so about 1 1/4 inches, just a hair more. So I'm going to go at 1 1/4 inches, and if I need to bring it down, I will. If I need to shave a little bit off, I will. Again, I don't have a measurement for this just yet. However, I am going to score this. So it's a pretty long piece. I'll tell you what I'm starting with. That'll help. It's 8 1/4. I'm going to score this at 1 inch. Okay, 1 inch. At least you know what I'm starting with. I am also going to round these corners on that 1 inch side. Now this, so I'm going to position my piece right in there, and so from, I don't want it to be too tight. So from that score line on that side, I need it to be at, oh gosh, 1 inch again. How lucky. So from the 2 inch score line, I need to attach this 1 inch from the score line. Okay, so 1 inch from the score line would be there. And I want to make a tiny mark, but I can't. Oh, I know what to do. Okay, so 1 inch from the score line. So I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper. So, of course, I got black here. So I'm going to cut this. Yep, at 1 inch. I'm going to cut my scrap paper at 1 inch. Let me see if this works. So I'm on the short side. Actually, I'm a dork. I could just simply go from this cut edge here. So I'm on the cut edge now. This is 1 inch. This is 2 inches. So I could just go on this cut edge here and do what I need to do. Let's just make sure. Let me just make sure. Would be a little bit higher. So that would make it. Not quite. That would be 1 inch right there. Yeah. All right, I can do it from this edge here. Okay, so what I want to do is center this. Center that. I am going to punch 2 holes so I can set some eyelets. Center it as best I can, because that would give me right smack in the center. Great. So I am going to use a Sharpie for this next step because I'm going to punch right through the Sharpie. So I'm centering it, and then I'm going to punch a hole there and a hole there. There we go. Let me close that. Alrighty. I know you guys are probably like, Kathy, what the heck are you doing? You'll see. Okay, right there and right there. So now I'm going to punch my hole, and I'm punching 3/16 because that's going to be the size of my eyelets. Alright, so now I'm going to set my eyelets in there. Do 1. Sorry if you hear my phone buzzing, but I just can't get to it right now. Okay. Alright, perfect. Those are done. Now I'm going to fold back on my crease, and that's going to go right through there, and then my magnet's going to go on this side. So I think I want this to be right there, so I'm going to cut this long piece at I'm going to cut it down to 3 inches. So this piece for you guys should be 4 inches. All right. So right from where? There is the crease. So you should start off with a piece that's 4 inches. Remember, I started off with a piece that was 8 1/4 because I wasn't sure, but 4 inches, if you're doing my exact measurements, 4 inches is more than enough because you're scoring at that 1 inch. All right, so there is the closure. Now what we have to do is put a magnet right there. So let me put it in here. So this is going to go under here. I think the magnet will hold magnet to magnet. And we're going to cover the magnet with pattern paper, which would be cute. All right, so that goes right in there, and the magnet will go right there. I think it'll hold it. Oh my gosh, I think that's so cute. And I'll move it around so you can see it in just a minute, because you're just going to see glare for now, right now. I'm looking for my bone folder. Here it is. Just creasing everything so I know I have it exactly where I need it. All right, so I am going to set my magnet in place right here. Perfect. Yep, it is going to be just perfect right there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue just to hold it. So my magnet is lined up right on the edge of this piece right here. Of the edge of this edge right here. So let me just hold it for a minute. It's not doing well holding. So I have to put my Teflon bone folder there because it won't stick to it. All right, so just hold, please hold. And now I'm going to get a piece of P3 tape. I'm going to cover that. You're not going to see the P3 tape at all. It's just to keep it in place. So I'm at about a 1/2 inch of P3 tape. See that? And again, it's just to hold it in place. Perfect. And then the other side of my magnet will be here. And I'm going to make my little stamp right there. Let me cut my P3 tape first before I move it over. I'm actually a little over 1/2 inch, and it's just so that I can get a really good get that magnet right under the tape. And again, you're not going to see the tape at all. So I'm just going to bring that down. I don't want any overhang on the tape. Get over here. Gosh, those magnets work. All right, so there's my magnet closure. Let's see if you can take a look at this right there. So here is the magnet closure. There's the belt. It's a little bit loose. I should have went a little bit tighter, but I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I just like things a little bit more tighter, and I really don't want to stuff this too much more because then, I sized my binding already, so I got to be careful with that. So it's not like I'm leaving room for, for a lot more embellishments. So I would, if I have to do it again, I would make it tighter. All right, so now for paper, I'm going to go with, let me see what I can find here. I'm going to go with this paper, and I'm going to cut my paper at, okay, so that P3 tape is actually at 3/4 inch. So I'm going to cut my paper at 1 inch. Okay, and for this piece, I want to see. So what's cool about the doing with the acetate is that it's not going to get beat up. Okay, it's going to be perfect, guys. So this is just going to go right around here. See that? And we're going to glue that beautifully right there. We have a little piece of decorative paper. And I need another piece at 1 inch. And this one would be a lot smaller. So let me see what I need here. Okay. So for this, I need and this one is fine. All right, so for the skinny portion of this, your paper is at 1 inch by 3.5, and this other one is 1 inch by 6.25. All right, so I'm going to ink this up, and I'm actually going to use tape for this, so I don't have to wait for it to glue. And you're just going to wrap it around the belts nice and tight. And then you're going to tape it or glue it into place. Either way you go, you'll be fine. I'm going to use tape because I don't want to have to wait for the drying time. And that is a super duper fabulous little closure there. Very unique. Still magnets, but unique, right? Different closure. All right, let me get my tape. And I'm just going to go from one end to the other. Get that tape on there. And here. And what is this, closure number 3? I'm just going to fold again just to make sure I got it nice and perfect. And again, I'm going to move it around so you can see it better as soon as I get this on here. So the goal here is to cover the magnet. That's the goal, guys. You don't want to, nor do you want to see the edge of the paper. Nice and neat, guys. Wrap it around. See that? How cute is that? Just making sure it wraps right around that magnet. And now this one, put the tape back. All right. So getting that right on there. Make sure you stick it right onto itself so it doesn't, you don't see the white on the other side. Okay, perfect. So really cute. Put this back. And you can use Tyvek, of course, if you want to. So let's see if you can see this. Now let me just get that burnished. Really nice edges there. So look at how cute that looks. Hopefully you can, let me see. Trying to get the glare just right so you can see the belt. If you wanted more pattern paper, you can make this out of pattern paper. This little belt part here, the 1¼ inch piece. You wanted to do that. Let's see, I'm trying to. I can't really get it. Sorry, guys. But hopefully you can see that. I think you can see it right there. But here's the belt portion, and then you have this portion right here. And it'll open up nice and easy. See that? And you can still see the inside of that. You can look at that just nice and easy. So we'll go through here and then through there. So super duper cute. I can't. That's as good as it gets, guys, so you can see that. And what's cool about this is that you can add, and I'm just stuffing this in there because it's what I have now, but you can add, well, that has a tab, so that's not going to work. Let's put this one in there. Like if you wanted to do one of these for here, look at how cute that looks. So you can stuff, you can put something in there. So really cute. Yet another layer, guys. Yet another layer for this album. I think I may have to make one of these for here, or just put that one right in there. So super duper duper cute closure here. Love that. For the next closure, I'm going to show you how to make this paper clip frame. So you can put a photo in here, okay, with a tag or just a regular photo right through the opening right there. Okay, and it is a paper clip. Let me show you in the book right here. So I want to put this here to close, to keep this closed here. So you can put it, where are we? Right here. I think, well, maybe right here, higher up. What am I doing here? Oh, right here. Here we go. So look at that. How cute is that? And that's going to keep these flaps closed. It does go into the pocket here just because where I chose to put it, but I am fine with that. If you don't want it to go into a pocket, then you just have to put it somewhere where it's showing on both sides, like a page like this. But here, we already have a closure here. So look at that. How adorable is that paper clip? So for this, it's different, okay? It's not like the paper clip closure I showed you. This one is a 4-part paper clip, hidden paper clip, and I use these paper clips for a frame. This one just gives me more stability for my frame. You can use a regular paper clip. Yes, 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 yes. However, I do like these large ones for the frame. Okay, so for this one, and this is for a frame regardless if you use a basic paper clip or these paper clips right here. Okay, either way, you make it exactly like this. So for the 2 parts, in this particular case, I want my frame to be 3 by 4. All right, so my finished size is 3 by 4. So you're going to need 2 pieces at slightly under 3 inches, slightly under, by 8. And then you're going to need 2 pieces for the frame at 4 inches by 5 inches. And then for this piece, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch all the way around. Okay, and you need 2 of those. I already prepped one of my frames. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of acetate at 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 inches with 1/8 inch tape around the perimeter. All right. And again, I already prepped one of my frames. So for these pieces, there's no scoring. You're just going to fold it in half. Okay. Fold it in half to 1 piece and 1 piece only. I want you to grab your paper clip, and this you're going to do regardless which paper clip you're using, okay? If it's the basic paper clip or this paper clip, you're going to do the same thing. I went ahead and burnished, and you're going to take the paper clip and you're going to just draw a pencil mark on either side of the paper clip at about 1/8 of an inch. You want to center it as best you can. And then you're going to take your blade and you're going to make a teeny tiny notch about the thickness of the top of the paper clip. You need this paper clip to sit in this piece. You want the top of this paper clip to be flush with the top of this fold here. See that? If you don't do that, this part is going to sit on top of it and you're going to have a weird bump here. See that? You're going to have that boop, that bump there. You don't want that. So for the first piece, you want it to sit flush with the edge. All right, so just get it right in there. And now this piece is going to go right over it, and you're going to glue this. Okay, I don't no longer need that. Let's get everything nice and neat. So I want you to apply your glue here, here, here. You can apply it all over here if you want to. And I want you to glue one side right there, like so. Okay, see that? And let that seal. Make sure that these 2 sides are staying separate, that you don't seal them completely shut. All right, so you're right on the edge. Remember that paper clip is sitting in that little groove. And now that that's done, now you're going to do the other side. Around the perimeter. And then all over the place if you want to. It's not necessary, but what the heck, why not? And now you're going to fold that over all the way to the opposite side. And you want to pull so that it reaches. And if it doesn't reach all the way, that's fine, but just make it nice and tight, okay? You just want it tight. It may not reach, maybe like off by 1/16 of an inch, but that's still okay. Just pull it. All right, and just make sure that it seals. like that. So now to create, and just open it, make sure you have two sides, okay, and that it seals. See that? So there's your paper clip with glued edges. Am I going to need more glue on this side? I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, there it is. Let that hang out. Now for this one, I use my frame punch board, which by the way, I need new blades because boy, these blades are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Really. Broderick gets annoyed with me when I text him in the house, and he just did that to me. So he's going to get it. So anyway, I use my frame punch board only because I wanted to have that rounded edge on the inside, but it's so sloppy, guys. Again, I need a new blade. But let me show you how to do it with the frame punch board. If you don't have a frame punch board, you can do what I always do, guys. 1 inch around the perimeter, you're going to draw a frame at 1 inch. Around the perimeter at 1 inch. Like so. See that? And you're going to cut this portion out right there. But you're going to have squared corners, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have a frame punch board, then that's how you do it. So you're going to put your little tab thingies here at 1 inch. And you're going to punch on all 4 sides. At 1 inch, okay? Then you're going to put your bar here at 1 inch. And you're going to cut that center portion out. So that's what you're left with. Now you're going to cut that out. So 1, all 4 sides. Oopsie. And 4. Okay, and it's just again super choppy, but it is what it is, and it's what I have. So eventually I will get some blades. So now you're left with your window, and now you're going to find the X. The X is formed by the intersecting score lines, and you should see an X on all 4 corners, and you're going to miter. You're going to cut directly across that X on the diagonal on all 4 sides, removing the section. Right there, all 4 sides. Then you're going to fold on the score lines. You're going to fold to the bumpy side. Then you're going to grab your acetate and you're going to remove the tape backing and attach your acetate. Okay. So this should fall right smack in between. Burnish. Make sure that acetate sticks really well. Now, depending if you want a side loading or a top loading frame, here I did, what did I do? I did a side loading frame right here. See, a top loading, sorry. It's on the side, but it's a top loading. So here I'm going to have a side loading frame, okay? It's going to be landscape instead of portrait, okay? Although it doesn't matter which way you insert the picture, it's up to you, okay? It's up to you. So what you want to do is you want to take one flap, either short or long. If you put down the long flap first, the entrance will be here on the short side. If you put down the long flap first, then your entrance will be here on the long side, okay? All right, so I'm going to put my long flap down. 1, glue on the inside of the flap, so flap should be extended. Acetate should be facing you. Put that down. Be careful you don't put too much glue there because it will ooze and get onto your acetate. All right, so let that stick right there. You want to do the same thing. You could do one side short, one side long. It is entirely up to you. All right, I'm just doing both on the long side. You can do one side frame, the other side nothing. Although I don't recommend that because you won't have a folded over edge, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So just one side you glue down. Okay. Now for this side here, now what you're going to do is for this top side here, your frame, you're going to glue this on top. Okay, so right here on this side, you're going to hold on, let me think about how I'm going to word this. Okay, so for this side here, you're going to go inside, put the flap in, fold over. On the opposite side, flap goes on top. On the opposite long side, flap goes on the inside. Okay, so see how that goes? So I personally like the flap, my entrance going this way, not this way. Okay, but either way works. And I'm going to flip that around this way because it's going to go whoop that way. All right, so I personally like to do glue on this flap first. Place it inside, guys, inside. And make sure it's flush all the way to the edge. Let it dry. The flap is gluing to the inside, okay? And let it dry before you proceed to the next step. Okay, now for this side, flap out. Now I'm going to glue the opposite side. So now flap is folded. And now you just stick it right on top, okay, like that. Let that dry because you're going to have to pry it open to get this one in here. So you want to be careful, okay? Or before it dries fully, you want to get it done. Okay, so open that up. See that? Get that flap in there. And there you have it, guys. And now you just want to make sure that you do the other one same exact way without it, that the opening is on both the same size. If not, it'll be totally weird, I think. All right, so glue inside flap first. That's going to go on the other side. The first one is the easiest one to do. But that's where you line everything up. Make sure it's pushed all the way to the edge and that everything's lined up. Then the second one, the second and the third, you want to kind of do them together, except that one gets glued, flap folded. The other one gets glued, flap extended. All right, so you're going to fold and stick. Make sure it's nice and even. Open it so you only have one side and then tuck that in. All right, and you are good to go. And there you have it, guys. The difference is where you pull your photo from. Okay. And you're done. You have it. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Whoopsie. Get over there. And there's the frame, guys. And you have that perfect folded over edge except here you have that, right? Because this one is glued there on the side. Just hold it shut. Just hold it nice and tight until it glues. All right, so now what I like about this is that whatever you put in here, this is hanging out. This was 4, that's 4.5. So this is 3. I'm going to do a tag at 3.5 or photo mat at 3.5 so I can do this portion sticking out on only one side. I wouldn't want both of them sticking out on both sides just because I think that's weird. So I'm going to do white. No, I'm going to do this. This is only 3 inches. So I'm going to grab file folder material. I love using file folder material. So here I have a piece of file folder that I've already cut. I only got one side to it. And I'm going to cut my insert. So that's going to be at 4. That's 4 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4 inches. 3 3/4 inches by 3, so 3.5, so it can stick out by 1/2 inch. And then this one I will cut regular, 2 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and that's fine there. I think it's crooked here. Let me see. It was. Okay. Put that back over there. So now this one, and I'm not going to dress it all up. I just want you to see it with something inside. So this one would be top loading here. See that, how cute? And then this one, same deal, but I would just have it all the way in there. See that? And this just one side hanging out. So this one, my little D-ring is on the side. This one, my D-ring would be on the top here. All right, so that's how you do the frame. And I just think it's so, so cute. So I'm not going to put this in here because it's just too much bulk for this particular. But see that, how awesome that is? I just love these. They're just so great. All right. So that's the frame, and that's the last closure I'm going to do. I have a whole list of closures, but that's the last closure I'm going to do. Now I just want to finish up. I am going to stick a small embellishment here, but you'll see that in the final review of the album. What I wanted to show you is this here. So I took a piece of pattern paper and I wrapped it around this piece here. I got enough so that it wraps over to the other side, and now I'm just going to glue it, okay? So that it has a nice decorative finish. Okay. And let's see, let me get it here. I don't want to get the glue where I don't want it. And then around, and I think that looks great. Let me move it over just a little bit more. Okay, perfect. And now I have some decorative paper there. And it looks fantastic. I just love it. Look at that, how pretty. How pretty is that? So much acetate, just so much glare. So I'm going to let that dry, but that looks fantastic. And I think that's all I have for you guys. All right, so I knew I forgot one. The photo turn. All right, this closure works like this with a brad, and it turns. All right, or it pivots so that you can open your flap. This is what you find behind the photo frame. To pop the back of the photo frame off, this is what it is. All right, You can order metal ones on Amazon or wherever you like to shop, or you can use multiple layers of cardstock using my file. You can find this file in the Essentials SVG bundle, and I will link you in the description box below. So there's all sorts of fun things in that SVG bundle, but this is one of them, and it's super duper handy for a closure. So I glued 3 layers of cardstock. It's really stiff if you use glue. You want to use it with a brad. All right, and I'm going to use it for this closure. I went ahead and I stamped the number 14 there. I'm going to make a little mark as to where I'm going to punch my hole or pierce my hole, and I already matted on the back, but I'm okay with that because I'm going to use the brad legs as so that I can add yet another embellishment, and you'll see what I mean. All right, so I'm going to make my hole. I'm going to put my closure there with my brad. Right, and this brad is larger than what I would typically use because I just want it to be really exaggerated. So I like this brad. Okay, and that goes like that. Then you open the brad legs like so. And I'm just going to put another embellishment through those brad legs, and it's going to look cute there. All right, but as you can see, you turn that over, and then there you go. And you've got yourself a fabulous little closure. You can do this with same exact idea, but with embellishments. Let's say you can take one of the, I'm just going to use this for, I wouldn't use this, but you can put the brad through here, and this would pivot, and this would be your closure. Okay, you can do hearts, whatever you want. You can do circles, rectangles. It doesn't matter. This is the idea here, the brad and something that you can use to swing or to pivot. And in this case would be swinging. And it works beautifully, beautifully, beautifully for a closure. So that is my last closure idea. But this one is so much fun. These photo turns are so much fun. And the fact that there's an SVG file for it, guys, pick up the SVG bundle, the Essentials SVG bundle. I will link you down below. 50% off now. There's so many amazing files in there, usable files that you can use for your projects. All right, so last one, super fun closures here. I hope to see them in your mini albums soon.